Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles. This is episode 82. I am Articulate T, the Game Master, and apologies for the previous session. We had a bit of a technical mishap before we started, and that just caused a bunch of motivation problems for myself. But we're back here now. Everything's looking peachy keen in regards to our technical stuff, and with me, as always, I have Renji Vox, being played by the Nether Lad.
That's me! I'm the Nether Lad.
Yeah. I have Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
Hello.
I have Zayden Shari being played by RoboPirate.
Hello.
And I have Max being played by Keistrith.
Hello.
So, everybody, what happened last time?
Well, last time, the Storm's Eye wakes up in Kakariko Village at the house of Paina, Renji's mom. Breakfast is made, and there's even a meal delivery to Zelish, plus the latest intel from the group, courtesy of Hikan. After getting ready to leave, the group heads off to Death Mountain, and while scaling the mountain, the group finds itself confronted by Tektites, jumping insect-like creatures, though they are quickly scared off by a loud roar from Max. However, a short while later, they're ambushed by Dodongos, big lizards that blow up once defeated. And blow up they do, as the Storm's Eye handily defeats them. A couple of Gorons show up to see if they need any help, but it's obvious that that's not really necessary. The group soon arrives in Goron City. There, the party decides to visit Darunia, the Goron leader, as well as go to the Iron Vein Mining Company. They are said to be the ones to know if anyone has seen a tower in the Death Mountain range. And that's where we left off.
Indeed. And so it is that we return to our erstwhile group of heroes, standing within the midst of the busy, multi-layered settlement within the volcano that is Goron City. The locale is, as described before, just a series of multi-tiered dwellings and businesses that kind of run the edge of this cave, as if it were a bowl of some description. Gorons of all shapes and sizes move about within these series of tunnels and cliffs, either rolling to get somewhere as fast as they can, or simply just walking and milling about with their brothers, just enjoying their life and the times that they have within this little settlement. And yeah, you guys have been directed, if you wish to speak to Darunia, to the door that sits at the very bottom of this bowl. This large kind of stone obelisk that kind of just looks to be carved to be reminiscent of a stern-looking Goron, just cross-armed, just carved into the side of this rectangular block of stone. Thankfully, despite the maze-like nature of the tunnels that lead down to the lower levels, it is easily navigated because there are a series of helpful signs at almost every corner that are written in both Goron and in Common. So, despite having to navigate your way past a collection of Gorons, in fact, as you're making your way down, I would like everybody to make a fairly easy dexterity saving throw for me.
Oh, okay. Even still a saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
Fairly easy, you say?
I should never qualify with the difficulty of my saving throws, because that seems to manipulate luck a bit.
You rolled a 1 and a 2.
A nice top score of a 13 overall.
Yeah, well done.
I rolled a 3.
Well, I'm going to consider this.
Twice as much.
I would consider this a group
did.
check and 50% win. So, thankfully, with the dexterity saves of Hikan and Zayden, you have managed to, as you're moving through some of these longer tunnels, as mentioned before, there are a couple of Gorons who are rolling to get to places as fast as they possibly can. The quick reactions of your monk and druid see the need to scoot everybody away to the side as a few Gorons, as fast as they can, tumble by down the slope towards a different layer of the bowl before making a sharp turn to get to where they need to go. None of you are hurt, thankfully. I forgot to roll to Mara because Mara's here. She's okay. She rolled a natural 10. Yeah, you. So it's not 100% easy, and it's quite clear that the Gorons very, very rarely have anyone who isn't a Goron living here to kind of have to be worried about non-Goron traffic, so to speak. But otherwise, you're not put in any direct harm. It's just a minor inconvenience, as it were. But after a couple of minutes of descending through these tunnels, you eventually find yourself at the very bottom of the bowl. Looking back up, you can see from a different perspective generally how big Goron City is, deceptively. As you can see the just sheer distance that you may have had to traverse to get down to this point. And looking back up, you can see that there are even a few more levels above where you entered. But you stand before this large stony obelisk that blocks your path, a very a woven hempen rug of about 30 feet on a side in front of this big stony block is before you. Just before this big stony door. Behind you, or in the center of this bowl, appears to be this large vase, about 40 feet tall, and roughly 20 feet in diameter. Three of the on the sides are faces of three Gorons, just kind of looking placidly and pleasantly. There doesn't appear to be any kind of other indication behind them. You can roll a history check if you'd like to see if there's any kind of significance you might have heard about with this one.
Just Let's see how my education holds up. 19 total.
Nice. So with a 19 and 18.
And a 5.
And a 5. But so Hikan, with your 5, you just think, oh, that looks fairly cool. It's fairly simplistic. But yeah, there's with the 19 and 18, it does appear to be something of a simple art sculpture. The actual name of the artist in question eludes you, but there's a general there's a theme of unity to it, at least as far as you can remember. It's quite an old piece of art that no one really has found the definite sort of no one has a definite idea of what it's meant to represent, but the prevailing idea is that you've got three Gorons, each of which, like, you have their faces, they're looking happy, and each of the handles on this immense vase are reminiscent of arms. So one could assume that its essence of unity being that Gorons working together can essentially carry any burden.
Nice.
Though, if you were to ask around, not many people, not even the Gorons, may be sure as to what its original purpose or theme or intent was when it was crafted. But still, it looks fairly pleasant.
I think Renji would probably just admire it, not immediately share this, unless he would notice anyone looking at the vase with more than just a passing admiration.
I don't think Max gives a shit about art.
I mean, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's my contribution to the discussion.
Fair.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, you make your so you have you are also in front of this large stone door, which you've been directed to as Darunia's chambers or Darunia's dwelling. Doesn't appear to be an immediate sign on like as it's a door, like any kind of handle with which to operate. It simply appears to be a large stone block that is in the way.
I don't have a harp, so I'm proficient in it. I just don't have one.
I don't have any instruments myself, so no.
As mentioned, there is the rug in front of the door as well. This 30 by 30 foot woven hempen rug that looks unremarkable comparatively.
I would like to investigate the rug.
Give me a perception or an arcana check.
I think we know which one I'm going to go with. Perception is a 26.
Okay.
Nice.
Looking at the rug, you can see that it's kind of made of these two different types of colored hempen rope, one of which being this kind of darkish brownish color, the other one being kind of a tan. Looking over it, you can see that the way that the design work is woven into this rug, you could almost make out there being something akin to writing, perhaps. It seems similar to the Goron writing that you've seen on signs on the way down, perhaps a little different in font considering the way it's been constructed.
I can read Goron.
You can read Goron.
Nice.
It basically the actual inscriptions in the rug are more or less akin to a communications spell, like a kind of a adjusted form of sending. You assume that if you were to stand on the rug, then you would be able to talk to somebody.
Okay, so explain this.
Bounce over to Hikan.
Okay, Hikan stands on the rug.
Okay.
Okay.
You stand on the rug. As you kind of like, after a couple of seconds of standing there, you can feel some of the magic attuned to you. There's a little tingle at the base of your skull, where you hear a ding, ding. Hello? Who's at my door?
Oh, hey Darunia, it's the bunch of the Sheikah that you met in Sarkosa. This is Hikan, and the rest of my friends are behind me right now. Yeah.
Oh, by all means, come on in. And after a brief moment, there's a deep scraping noise as this stone block kind of slides awkwardly to the left, revealing a doorway behind it.
I gestured to the friend.
All right, that went easily enough. I head to the new entrance.
Okay. You follow the tunnel through, which goes for roughly about 15 feet before taking a sharp right turn and into a comparatively smaller cave, though it is very well lit. There are a variety of different decorations and trinkets that line the shelves and walls. There is a stony bed. There are a variety of different different storage places for food and tools. As well as another one of these large stony dour-looking Goron statues that sits at the very back of the room, and in the middle is Darunia, who looks over and smiles. He kind of like claps his hands once and rubs them together and says, welcome to my home and my hometown. It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So, and he kind of just looks over. He finds what you can only assume by its shape to be a chair of some kind, which is among others. He grabs a couple and kind of like drags them over to certain spots with little effort before he takes one for himself and sits down in it and says, "So, what can Big Brother do for you?"
I would take one of the seats and kind of wait until the others are seated or they stay standing. Well, we are in search of the princess of the Hyrulean royal family.
Oh, did you mention this before? On the way up.
Yeah, we mentioned that there might have been a tower or something to the south. And that if you knew any people that could get maps or things like that. We did hear about the Iron Vein and we were going to talk to them, but we wanted to check in first.
Well, let's see. And he kind of thinks over it for a bit. He stumbles over to a kind of a surface where a bunch of papers and other items are strewn. He picks up a couple of things and like looks through them briefly and says, "I remember someone mentioning something. A couple of things actually. Let's see. Yes. I remember getting told a couple of weeks ago there were a couple of Sheikah who came to Goron City. They were asking much about the same thing from what I've been told here.
Did you say a couple?
Yeah, 3 in total.
Right, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say Hikan will, if Renji's forgotten, mention in Sheik or telepathically that Zelish did give Nihilus some bodyguards.
That is true, yeah.
Let's see. According to this, they were also looking for some kind of tower, and but they didn't mention the princess. I did hear that the princess had gone missing shortly after the king was killed. I am terribly sorry about the circumstances you have found yourselves in, but
Renji just nods and says, given your status, I thought it would be safe to mention that to you. I don't think my predecessor would have mentioned this to any random god.
Oh yeah, I can understand that, and even still, I wouldn't be too put down if such a matter was not mentioned to me. I mean, after all, as far as general concerns go, it's difficult to ignore news from the kingdom, especially considering how it happened, at least from what I was told. But as far as I can tell, there was some mention that a few scouts had been trying to track through the surface of the mountain range down south. They were probably looking for another way to see if they can expand the mines. One of them did mention a tower of some kind, or at least a structure that looked like a tower. But then there are a lot of structures on this side of the river that are pre-Civil War. Very old structures indeed. So it might have just been a relic from old times. At least that's what they thought it would be. But if that tower is of importance, then, well, there is another bit of information that we can share here. And he kind of like comes back over and hands a slip of paper. He doesn't know the one among you who can read Goron, so he's going to hand it to Renji, being frontman. But
I'll take it. And, unfortunately, I'm not versed in your language, the written language specifically.
That just takes it off you.
However, we do have someone who can read this.
So the documentation states that the Iron Vein Mining Company, by order of its leader Lugresh, had to close off one of the mines recently, like a couple of days ago, actually. Supposedly they were hearing some sort of noises down there. One of the workers freaked out and one of their explosives, being bomb flowers, went off and kind of collapsed a portion of the mines. There has been constant back and forth over to whether to reopen it, but not small portion of the people who worked within that particular mine are eager to open it back up, considering what they say they heard. Though the document itself doesn't actually note what it is that they heard. They just heard some unsettling noises, and that was that.
And these miners, they are from the Iron Vein Mining Company?
Yes, they are.
I'm not familiar if there is any other mining company here, but...
We don't exactly have a common, or we don't have a different variety of companies, I suppose. It's mainly just for the sake of simplicity that it was named that way.
It's very fair.
Does it mention, like, the direction of the tunnel, like if it's to the south or anything like that, to see if it kind of might line up with, say, some of Torquin's experiments that have just been left out there or something?
The document doesn't mention it, but if posed to Darunia, he kind of nods a little and says, yeah, it does have a southerly direction.
That might be a safe-ish way in if we can get more information, but yeah, I think it's a good start. Okay. I was going to ask, it's just like, well, I guess it would be kind of a better question for the Iron Veins, but would we be going over there on our own?
I think that would be a better question for the Iron Veins. He kind of pauses for a moment as he thinks on it and says, ordinarily, from what I understand of general protocol, for the sake of the safety of each other and anyone who is not part of the mining company going into the mines, it's not the first time we've had to do this, by the way. But it's normally best practice to have some of the miners accompany those who would be familiar with it. But considering the abnormal circumstances of this, it might be possible that they would be more inclined to letting you go alone. Well, not unguided, though. They will provide some form of map, or maybe they can commission one of the Lodestone Tinkerers to try and get you a guide chew.
Not familiar with those terms.
Lodestone Tinkerers is a small independent business that is run entirely by Brother Tagum. He's an older Goron, but he likes to while away his time with smaller machinery. A little bit like your artificer friend here. And he gestures to Mara. And he says, he's designed these things based off of the general mechanical bomb chew designs. It being a small wind-up mouse that instead of exploding something will tend to follow a set of directions and guide a person there if they can follow it. Has a little light on the tail as well. It's very cute.
Well, it does put my heart at ease that it does not explode. It makes it sound quite useful.
Some of the cases, however, depending on what you want to do, especially with these sorts of instances, is he kind of like scans over each of you and says, I don't know how well suited you are for mining or cave traversal,
Remember
but
correctly, Zaiden's still a rock elemental.
you haven't changed back?
He
Amazing.
could telepathy, he doesn't need to.
Okay. And I
If
love how
remember
like
rightly, he wandered into town and he's just like, I'm a slightly different looking Goron, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. No one batted an eye. Still no one bats an
The
eye.
golden candy elemental.
But yeah, he says, if you do need any additional supplies, there is one place I would recommend. I mean, there are a variety of general stores within Goron City, but if you're looking for expediency, then there is the Rolling Rocks general store, just up a couple of levels. You'll know where you can find it. It's a 3-window sort of arrangement. You stand at one window and go down them to get the things.
Okay. Since you said there was a bit of a collapse, would you happen to know if there's any way that, say, some of us could augment our strength if necessary? Which then leads me to an above game question. Could I wear bracers of defense and say if there was something like it, gauntlets of Goron power at the same time?
Ooh, good question.
If not, we could always go with a belt, but...
You could ask Tagum. He might be able to do something along those lines. After all, he's not restricted entirely to mundane mechanical things. He could do something maybe a bit magical.
Okay. Alright. Well, then I think we know which ways we need to get going. We can stop by the Iron People and then go a little bit of shopping and get some rest and head out in the morning. As I look to the rest of the party for confirmation that this is indeed a good idea.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. So Durinio, with a bit of a smile, kind of like stands up and says, well, I'm glad I could be of assistance to you, in much the same way that you were assistance to myself and Roto. If you need to talk about anything at all, just make sure to come by and stand on the rug. We'll let you in. It'll be nice.
Thank you so much.
Couple of questions that might lead into something when we have our rest for the evening. Is the ground a little bit earthquakey here?
Are you asking Darunia in game?
Just kind of like have we felt anything? Like occasional rumble or something?
There has been a couple of tremors, but you assume that that might be more to do with the volcano than anything else?
And
Like-
then I would... Go ahead.
I would say, like, so one of the things that my aunt taught me, because she used to work in airplanes, is that if you're experiencing turbulence on a plane, just look at the flight staff. If they don't seem bothered, then you don't need to be bothered. And that's more or less the same situation that you have here, which is, even though there have been tremors, and even some that kind of like shook things a little bit, none of the Gorons around you seem to have been particularly bothered by it. Like, no one was like stopping and like, that's worrying. Rather, they just kind of like accepted that it was a thing that happened and moved on.
Right. And there's kind of like an even place outside of the city, like a decent, clear little area. It's just
Yeah.
outside.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Alright.
Oh dear. Okay. So, does anybody have anything else they would like to ask Darunia before departing upon their way?
Nah. No.
Nothing really comes to mind.
Okay. So, with that done, you bid Darunia farewell and head back into the busyness and liveliness that is Goron City. Where would you like to head next?
Iron Vein is the closest.
That's true.
Okay.
Find this Lugresh?
Lugresh.
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 Okay.
But yeah, you make your way through a couple of other tunnels, some of which actually head a little further down, below the bowl, and eventually you, as you're moving through, you can hear the heavy work of the miners as they refine stone and move mine carts, and the shouting of various different team leaders as they coordinate their groups of Gorons who commence the mining operation. When you eventually come to a larger open area, you can see that you're more or less standing on a ledge that leads down into a much deeper pit. The actual pit itself, at just an eyeball glance, you can see that it is roughly 100 feet deep. With a variety of different bits of scaffolding that kind of go around the edge and lead into different mining areas. One of the Gorons looks up to you, like hefts their pickaxe onto their shoulder and just kind of says, "Hello, can I help?"
Greetings. We were looking to speak with Lugresh.
Oh, you want to speak to boss? Okay. I'll be back in a second.
Thank you.
And he kind of like trundles off, and before he does, he kind of but he stops briefly and turns around and says, "I'd advise you staying up here just for a bit. It's a bit complicated, going up and down these scaffoldings and whatnot. I mean, like, you know, just for the sake of safety."
Understood.
And he then turns back around and heads back down to the heads down through a series of walkways and eventually disappears into a tunnel. After a couple of minutes of waiting, he eventually returns with a much larger Goron. This one with their rocky hair kind of tied into long, thick braids that run over his shoulders. He kind of like gives each of you an appraising glance before kind of giving a nod and saying, "So my boy here says that you needed to talk to me about something."
That is correct. My name is Renji Vox. I was under the impression that there has been a part of the mines shut off due to strange sounds. From Darunia.
Ah, I see. You've spoken to Big Brother. Okay. All right. So, yeah, there has been a bit of the mines shut off, and it has been because of those noises, as some of my workers would actually make mention of. The actual noises themselves, however, they claim to be hearing things like crying or screaming or something. Just general wails and shuffling of feet. Not the usual kinds of things that you would hear echoing down tunnels down there. Like, it's not to say that it isn't any dangerous from the usual noises we hear. Let me tell you, we've got things like the dongos and other kind of things likes. Don't want to mess with like. But those noises we know of. We know how to prepare for them. We know how to react to them. Those were new, and I honestly cannot blame my fellas from vacating the area as quickly as possible. So they were probably...
They sound like they were made by Gorons or by something more Hylian.
He kind of thinks for a moment. Says, they didn't have the same quality of a Goron, no, but I can't exactly say what they were. At least that's what they tell me.
Fair enough.
Have your people done much exploring above ground?
He kind of thinks and says, not really. We started the mines down here and we've just mostly been going down still.
Was it a scout from here that would my brain would that Darunia said was the one that found what might have been the tower?
That's why I was asking.
Oh, yes. Yes and no. We usually are privy to the notes of the scouts, because they might provide us with other mining capabilities, but they don't work directly for us. They were just one of the general scouts that explores the mountain and keeps people safe who will walk in its paths.
Do you know which scouts search that sort of area above where you hear the noises?
He kind of thinks a moment and says, I'd have to go back and look into the notes. It might take a while.
That's fine. Apparently we're staying here overnight.
Yeah, I might be able to provide you with that information by tomorrow morning then.
That would be much appreciated.
Kind of like, he looks over each of you again and says, so, you're not planning on entering the mine, are you?
We are planning on going where our quest takes us, and that may very well be into the mines.
We're looking for a tower, and it sounds like these sounds were heard underneath around the area where it might be.
Okay. Well, if you do plan on going down there, I'll see if I can try and find whatever maps we had left. It's been a while since anyone's been in there, but we still have the rough sketches of where to go. They might help you out.
Yeah.
That will also be of help, thank you.
How long ago did the noises start?
Let's see, the mines collapsed roughly 3 days ago. The noises started 5 days ago.
Okay.
So it was after Renji lost contact with Nihilus by a decent margin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm blanking on the name. Who did Daruni tell us to go to for artifice stuff? I forget.
Tagum, Tagum, from Lodestone Tinkerers.
Okay, cool.
If it's possible to pick up that information by tomorrow morning, then we can see what we'll do next. We do have some other errands to run within the city, but thank you very much for your time and your information, Bluegrass.
Not a problem. Well, I gotta get back to work. So, if you're determined to head down, I will see you tomorrow morning, I suppose.
Right. Take care.
You do.
Good luck.
He trundles off to go and find that information, as well as get back to his usual work, leaving you guys to your own devices.
Next stop, Tagum.
If we need anything from actually, let's stop by the general store. Hikan just wants to see if they have And I understand that if they don't, because it's Gorons, and I understand if it's at a markup because it's in a mountain. But Hikan wants to get some seafood, like some saltwater fish, if possible. But other than that, to tag them.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you make your way back into the main area of Goron City, and head back up the various tunnels to get to the Rolling Rocks General Store. What you find set into the side of the cave, instead of one big door that leads into a larger area, you see what appears to be 3 windows with a small sign next to one saying "Start here."
Okay, I go to the start here sign.
Okay.
I will follow.
When you get there, the wooden shutters on this first window kind of like roll up, and inside appears to be a Goron with a simple green hat, like a little cap with a black brim on it. And he says, "Hello and welcome to Rolling Rocks General Store. What would you like to order from us?" And he kind of takes a moment to provide you with a few pages of things, like a roughly 10 pages of this small, like, twine-bound document that he just puts in front of you. And on the front it says, "Catalogue."
The laminated book of dreams.
Fucking Argo.
Hikan spends about 10 seconds going through the first 2 items because he reads very slowly and then just passes it to Renji, asking him in Sheikah if there's saltwater fish.
Is there saltwater fish?
There are preserved saltwater fish. Not anything extravagant, but it's just like tuna and stuff
Fish
like that.
sticks.
Fish sticks. Fish fingers.
This looks like there's preserved tuna.
That'll do.
Got something exotic in mind?
Well, I know it's a bit of a stressful time for you and Max, and I know Max said that Max liked seafood in Sarcosa, so I was planning on making something to see if it would make Max a little bit more relaxed.
Oh.
I will put a hand on Hikan's shoulders.
Meanwhile, Max is standing behind
That's-
you, almost literally in a storm cloud.
I'm just imagining,
dear.
like, while the Gorons don't register much when they get within 5 feet of Sam, it's just kind of like, okay, gonna go off to the side.
There is a sudden smell of ozone.
Oh dear. But yes, there is preserved tuna. Is there anything else you'd like to acquire from the Rolling Rocks General Store?
No, we have spices and everything from other places and other foods, so should be okay.
Okay. All right. So,
Was this the place they mentioned for the strength that you were asking about?
Not yet, no. It's just a general store.
so you provide the catalog back and indicate the tuna. He's the guy at the counter just kind of nods. He writes it down and says, "Okay, if you'd like to proceed to the next window, please." And he closes the blinds.
Hikan's new to the concept of shops in general, so he is very confused, as this is very different than what he's used to, and takes a step to the next window.
And when you get to the next window, the shutters open. A near identical looking Goron in a blue hat with a black brim opens up and says, "Hello, I see that you have ordered some of the tuna here. That'll be 3 silver pieces, please."
Okay, I give him a gold piece. And I don't worry about the change.
He kind of He takes the gold piece, says, "Would you like your change, sir?"
It's okay.
Okay, if you'd like to proceed to the next window, please. And he puts the coin away and closes the blinds.
Swear to, if this one has a red cap, I step over to the next window.
You get to the next window, it opens up, you see another near identical Goron standing there, no cap this time.
What?
As he kind of like presides you with with a small wooden box. It says, "Here you are, some fresh tuna." Oh, hold on. And he then like reaches behind on a wall and then puts on a red cap with a black brim. It says, "Is there anything else we can do to help you out?"
Wince. No, thank you.
Very well, thank you for shopping at Rolling Rock's General Store. We hope to see you again another time. He takes a light bow, and then the blinds close again. There's a small stack of other printed catalogs just at the end of the thing, which with the same identical list of items. So in case you do need to come back, you can at least go to the first window with, "I already know what I want, it's this."
Yeah, okay. I will take a catalog. I just kind of squint and walk away.
To be fair, the catalog is the only good part of an Argos.
It kind of is, yeah.
I know the uniform for managers in this place. Purple cap.
Oh dear. To be fair, having worked at an Argos for half a decade, it's probably some of the best exercise I ever got for a short period of time. Just because it's like, here's your thing, this is what the thing, and then you have to run through the warehouse to get the thing that they want.
Gigantic.
Yeah. Oh dear. But yeah, you've now acquired a box of tuna. And
It's like if you had to go pick things up at an Amazon warehouse.
yeah,
Lovely.
it's huge. With the worst voice recognition filing software that has ever existed.
To tag him?
Okay.
To tag him.
Yeah. So, after acquiring your fish, you make your way through the tunnels once again in order to find yourself at a smaller establishment, this time actually having a door that goes into a small dwelling, with a little sign painted on the cave wall next to it that says Lodestone Tinkerers. And as you head inside, you see that the lighting in here is fairly small. There is a few candles situated on a bench at the other side of this messy kind of assortment of things. And sitting at said desk is a much older Goron with a long kind of unkempt beard, a pair of goggles with a great many number of lenses attached to it, sitting over his eyes as he very delicately puts things in place on something that has no discernible shape just yet.
Okay. Hikan will step in and hello.
What? Oh, hello. Excuse me a second. He kind of puts things down, and lifts up the goggles and blinks a couple times, and he smiles. And says, "Ah, welcome to Lodestone Tinkerers. I'm Tagum. It's nice to meet you. I don't get many people in here recently, but that's fine. Gives me more time to work on things. So, how can I help?"
If no one else wants anything, Hikan will kind of explain what Darunia said, that there might be a guide shoe that might take us through parts of the mine.
Oh. Okay, yep. Give me a second. And he like hops up. He walks over to to another shelf, and after a bit of rummaging, he returns with what appears to be like it looks like a standard sort of bomb chew, like mechanical bomb chew. This kind of like Roomba sort of device that has like a mouse face on it, but instead of it being like painted in gold and vibrant blues and having the shape of a normal bomb chew, it appears to be this gunmetal grey, haphazard plated thing, with a little kind of backpack device on it, which looks kind of like a tube. And there's also like a big kind of turnkey at the very back of it. It says, "Here you are. One guide chew." And before he actually hands it to you, he takes it over to a table and then kind of like carefully unhooks the cylinder on the top of it and says, "If you have a map of any kind, all you need is to roll the map up. Not the way you'd usually do it with like the face of the thing inward. You have to do it outward and put it in the tube, and then you put the tube on the chew, and then the chew will then read the map as it goes, and it will guide you there. It's all-terrain vehicle-ish, and it will guide you to where you need to go. You just you do need to put an X on the map of where you need to go before you do. Otherwise, it won't know where to go and it'll just go around in circles, which is very funny to look at, but it's not terribly useful."
It's a chew tube.
Yeah.
Hikan nods as if he's getting all of this, but is secretly hoping that everyone else is paying attention.
Did you say all-terrain-ish?
Well, I mean, it can't fly, and it does kind of short circuit in water, but it can go on walls and ceilings.
Okay.
That's pretty neat.
Good clarification.
And they said that there might have been some stuff that fell in on the in the tunnels, and so I was personally wondering if you had a means to make someone stronger.
Ooh. We don't get that request around here very much, but
Wonder why.
not too difficult to do, I don't think. Let's see. And he kind of like heads over to a different area where he kind of rustles through these piled up papers and eventually finds something and seems very satisfied with it, and he comes back and he says, "Okay, I think I can do you have an item of clothing that you can use to carry any kind of magical enhancement?"
Hikan kind of sits there and looks at all of his various things, and I guess he takes kind of like the sash off of the equivalent of his gi, and would hand it over.
Ooh. Never worked on cloth before. Okay. I can try and inscribe something on there that can give you strength, not necessarily to punch as hard, but to lift as hard as most Gorons that exist here. I might need to hold it onto it overnight, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's about the period of time that we have here.
Ah, yeah, how fortunate. As for the prices of these things, because I'm sorry, I can't be giving these away for free. Let's see. For the chew, let's go with 50 gold pieces.
Okay.
They're easy to make. I make them by the dozen.
I was looking at him kind of like, are you sure? That seems like a low amount of money.
In the other game, my monk had one as a pet.
I remember that.
No, that is...
It's called Tico.
No!
Oh dear. And he says, as for the enchantment, that might be a bit more. 200 gold, maybe? Yes, that seems like the ticket.
I am 16 gold short for that.
I'll spot you.
I can
Alright.
spot you too.
I will just pay for it
Okay.
so that you still have some money.
Hikan's like sitting there and pulling it out, slowly counting, and you guys know that there's not 200 gold in that pile.
Max, who has been gradually getting more and more frustrated with every second they've had to wait to go and investigate the tower,
Yep.
slams the money down and goes back to pacing in the background.
Oh, well, thank you. Like puts the sash away. He hands you your new device and says, "Just stop by in the morning. I'm sure I'll have it sorted by then."
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And with that, he kind of goes back to his desk and continues his tinkering. As you guys head out,
With the enchantment that Hikan is requesting, like mechanics-wise, would that mean like strength is increased for the purposes of carrying capacity?
yeah, basically give you the powerful build trait.
Okay.
Mm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good. I think next up is trying to find place of rest. We've had someone mentioned that before.
Near the top. Can't remember
Near the
name.
top. Best view in the whole of Goron City.
Yeah.
Right. Was there anything else we needed to do, or were we going to go up the stairs?
That is all that I think we needed.
All right. Then I believe we can go there.
Okay. So yeah, with the vast majority of your errands completed, you make your way up through the city and eventually find yourself at the top level, where a nice sign above an open entranceway greets you to the Starview Inn.
How was it?
Inside, you can see that there are a variety of tables that are sitting next to a hearth of constantly glowing embers, and there's this kind of very nicely done molded glass chandelier that hangs at the very hangs at the ceiling at the very center of the room. There's the Goron who sits behind the counter. Looks to you and says, welcome. We don't get many visitors up here.
Well, it's, the welcome we've received so far, it suggests that you're actually quite good with tourists.
Well, we have to make up for it in some case. I mean, it is literally called Death Mountain.
Yeah, have you tried, like, rebranding?
We could, but it's more or less been known as Death Mountain for I think all of recorded history. So it's kind of difficult to shake that at this point in time.
Fair enough. We are here with, I believe we are here with 5 people. Yes.
5 people. Okay.
And we would like rooms.
He kind of looks over each of you, and he kind of then turns to grab a small journal that sits on the shelf behind him. He says, "Okay, so we have a variety of rooms. we have our basic room and board. Don't worry about the beds. They're not made of stone. They are comfortable for non-Gorons to sleep on, though we do have a couple of Goron-specific rooms that literally are just stone, if you need those. We have the standard service, which is 5 copper pieces a night. That gives you a basic bed, a lockable door, a small chest to store your things in. Then we have the view service, and that comes with a collection of different rooms. The view service is basically just one of the walls in the actual room itself is made out of the same kind of clear molded glass, and because we're at the top of a mountain, that means that you can basically see all over Hyrule. It's very popular rooms. They also come with a variety of different beds, but in general that will cost you roughly 2 silver pieces a night. And you can have a single room, or you can have a group room. You can also have a room with or you can have the singular master suite room, which is basically as big as a group room, but only has the one double bed in it. That in particular costs 1 gold piece per night. And of course, you can also pay the extra 1 silver piece, which will include breakfast, but the menu for non-Gorons is somewhat limited, I'm afraid.
That's quite all right. So yes, for 5 people, we are looking for 1 night to stay here, including breakfast.
Hikan squint at Renji.
Glance over at. I will perceive this.
I'm not hiding it.
Is it possible to have not so much breakfast as it being things we can bring on the road?
Takeaway.
Yes.
I think we can do
possible.
something along those lines, yeah. I think we have some
That,
spare
please.
boxes and things. Okay. All right.
As for the rooms themselves, I'm thinking, how much does a group room serve?
That will be 4 silver pieces.
Or silver pieces? And how big is the room for how many people?
Can accommodate up to 8 different people.
And I think that will be quite lovely.
Very well. How many are going for normal beds? How many are going for stone beds?
I glance over at Max.
1 stone bed.
Okay. I'll give you the, he kind of counts all of you and says, I'll give you the 50-50 deal. So half of the beds in the room which will be stone, half of the beds in the room will be not stone, and because it's a total of 8 beds, you should be able to accommodate yourselves appropriately.
I think that will be doable, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Gonna think the stone bed is Poseidon because Poseidon's still a rock elemental.
Yeah.
I do want to give him the option of turning back and sleeping in a normal bed. But I know that Max is somewhat more...
We know it's for
hesitant.
Max. We know it's for Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. So after noting this down, I'll what was it? The Goron at the register will just be like, okay, so that is 1 group room, so that'll be 4 silver pieces plus 1 silver piece for takeaway breakfast. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. He kind of like closes the journal, turns around, hands you a couple of keys on a string. They're fairly big, just to make it comfortable for the larger Goron hands to actually manipulate them. He says, now, a couple of other things as well. As at the moment, you're currently situated in the lobby. for most meals or other services, if you make your way up up a floor, and he points to a set of stairs that are carved into the actual wall. He says, up there is going to be an atrium sort of thing. That's where you'll find a few of the tables. It's where we start cooking our food. It's also got another larger window that allows you to look out over Hyrule when you do so. If you go up one more floor, instead of a traditional kind of bathing room, we have a series of hot springs that are situated from the Death Mountain range, the advantage of being on the volcano, as it were.
I'm definitely going to enjoy that. Thank you.
And we'll ask, where is the place with the highest, furthest view?
Oh, well, the hot springs themselves are kind of exterior. That's the highest that we go. So there are walkable areas just outside the place. So you are more than welcome to find yourself a nice spot to sit and watch the view for a bit before you head back inside. Of course, if you don't like the wind chill up on this altitude, then by all means, we have the windows there for you to do so, to watch within the relative comfort of the interior here.
Okay. For non-Gorons, since they said that the food was a bit limited, could we use the kitchen?
He kind of thinks about it for a moment. You'll have to ask our head chef, I think. I would say yes. It doesn't get as much use as you would think it does, especially considering what we Gorons usually make our eat. But yeah, if you want to have a look inside, then just the chef should probably be able to accommodate that. Maybe just have to ask him.
Alright. Hikan will then go over to the chef.
Okay. So you make your way up to this up one flight of stairs in order to get to the atrium area where the kitchen and the dining area is effectively situated, as well as a general series of tunnels that head off to the rooms that you've one of which you will be staying in for the night. Behind a door next to the dining area would be the kitchen. As you poke your head in, you can see that it is a bit sparse in terms of what you would expect from a kitchen, but stacked high and heavy on one side of the room in organized kind of shelving areas would be a series of different types of rock, such as prime rock rib and all that kind of stuff that the Gorons consider a delightful delicacy, and the singular chef kind of is taking inventory, not being too harried by the need to make up a meal. He turns to look at you as the door opens and says, "Hello, welcome. Can I help you? This is a staff-only area."
Yeah, me and my friends are staying here, and we're not Gorons, and I heard that the stuff that the non-Goron menu is kind of limited, and so I was wondering if I could use your kitchen. In exchange for this, I will give you some notes on what I know how to make, and you could teach me how to make some of that stuff, so that way in case I ever run into a Goron, I know how to make it like they get it at home.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. +1, here we go. 8.
Can I help?
Hey, I will allow you to help, but how do you help?
I think Renji has traveled with Hikan enough right now that kind of he knows where, like with Hikan's mannerisms and way of articulating, that kind of Renji kind of like adds more like emphasis, like, oh yeah, like that, and like, good deal, right? And that's sort of like small wingman-y comment.
Okay. Yeah. So with a 15, the Goron chef kind of narrows his eyes and says, "All right, okay, that seems like a fair trade, maybe. Okay, feel free to come on in and utilize the thing. To be honest, we don't get that many people up here, but if we do, then that would actually be pretty helpful." So he kind of like puts the clipboard and stuff away, and will kind of walk over, rub his hands together, and be like, "So, where do we want to start?"
Okay, first things that we gotta do is and we like Hikan goes through it's like kind of the basic things that he's supposed to do, because he's teaching people and that's how it is. But what he will grab is he will grab the hot and spicy peppers, that he probably has in storage from one of the bags, and then he will grab the equivalent of ginger, cilantro, limes, soy sauce, salt, pepper, um, some type of oil, and whatever the equivalent of a avocado is with the tuna, and then he's going to mix all of the ingredients but the oil, put the oil in a pan, fry up the tuna, and then kind of pour the other ingredients over the tuna itself.
Okay.
So it's got like a little bit of a bite to it in regards to it, but yeah, he's gonna sit there and kind of go through all of that stuff.
Sounds delicious. Yeah. Okay.
Totally didn't look up tuna recipes while I was waiting.
I still need to make better use of my official D&D cookbook for stuff like this, but the Goron chef kind of watches you intently, making notes as best he can. And when you've finished preparing the meal, he kind of like he seems pretty impressed with the idea, because at the moment all they really have to offer for non-Gorons to eat would be the basic meats and cheeses and breads, as well as some Dodongo jerky. That's kind of it for what they had, but seeing you prepare this stuff has been enlightening for him. So he won't, because it's a freshly prepared meal, he won't keep you from needing to eat it or providing it to whoever should be eating it before he would go on to show you how to prepare Goron stuff himself.
Excellent.
Okay. While that's happening, what's everybody else doing?
I think like this is taking place whilst we're already like getting into the room, or
If you want to head straight to the room, you can do. The key is for a door that leads into a large kind of 20-foot by 30-foot room, at the end of which one of the walls, as described, is clear and see-through. You can definitely tell it's glass. It's not like so pristine as to think it's not there.
okay.
But there are on one side of the room there are a series of normal-looking beds, larger than you would expect a single bed to be, but not like so big that it's a double bed. And on the other side of the room are an equal number of what appear to be just kind of carved slabs of stone with like these basic blankets thrown over the top of them. It does all look very nice indeed, and each of the beds has a foot locker, and there are a couple of wall sconces for torches in case you need them. But yeah, just peering out the window, looking out over the now darkening realm of Hyrule as it goes to night is a honestly spectacular view. you can, from what you can gather based on the setting sun, you can see that your window is facing westward, and you can make out different places just before they disappear behind the horizon. With like, if you squint a bit, you can see like the lights of different settlements and the road that leads onwards to Hyrule Castle town. It's this oddly picturesque view, but chances are it will probably look much, much better when the morning comes and you have a clear view of the world below.
Okay. I think that Renji would like to get some time at the hot spring.
Okay.
And he is going to be asking Max and Zayden, now that Hikan is busy, if they would like to join. Also, I think he would have asked the person at the lobby if it's like if Gorons do with like separated bathing, like
Is it co-ed?
is it? Yeah.
Hmm.
Do they care about that?
Dude, yeah, that's a question because they're all brothers.
Yeah, they're all
do
brothers.
Gorons have more than one perception of sex or gender?
Yeah.
I think they acknowledge that there is a gender beyond male. It's just that because they're like, I would say that they probably are aware that it is a concern, but the way that they've designed this place, they probably haven't gotten around to the idea of like, it is co-ed, but they probably haven't organized anything, but they probably have organized at least the basic thing where men and women can change separately. And they also don't, but they're also not going to enforce the whole "you must be naked in order to enter the hot spring" sort of thing. If you have if you have underclothes that you would rather wear, or if you want to be fully clothed while you enter into the hot spring, they will allow that too. It's just like the idea is that that you are to be comfortable there. Yeah.
Right. Given that knowledge, I would also invite Mara.
Okay. Mara will respond with, I'm just going to take a quick inventory, and maybe I'll join you guys later. But feel free to go on without me.
All right. With that,
Max's response is, "What's a hot spring?"
it's a very nice bath, and it'll help you relax your muscles.
The complete lack of any recognition when you say the word bath probably indicates how much more description you're gonna have to give.
It is an experience that I think you will enjoy. And if not, I'm very sorry, but I think you should experience it anyway.
Spence is giving you a very skeptical look.
Do you trust me?
Says
Fine.
that.
It's fine.
Right.
That was almost as loud as a silence as, "Will you not use that?"
Oh dear.
It's like he does trust you, but he doesn't trust whatever this hot spring is the thing. So he doesn't know how to answer the question.
Mm-hmm. Then I head to the hot springs.
Because he does
Okay.
also remember the attempts to get him to enjoy crowds, which haven't worked.
That's true. This is knowing that I will mention like it's most likely going to be quiet or at least calm and not busy like the festival from Hyrule Castle Town.
Okay.
Okay. And Zayden, are you going to be joining them in the hot springs?
Or joining them in the hot springs. Zidon wants to go back
Turn
to
into a
Argos.
mud elemental.
So did you say Zayden wants to go back to Argos?
Yep.
Gonna go live there.
The laminated book of dreams. This,
Oh,
I
God.
only know this via Bill Bailey.
Oh dear. I'm honestly surprised it's not more of a store idea that exists out elsewhere in the world, but it's like,
I think it's
Yeah.
We
because they
have similar things. Don't
I
worry.
think
But
it's because they require so much fucking space
that's true.
to
That's
store all of the shit that is in that
Yeah.
catalog.
yeah.
There is so much shit.
There is so much stuff.
we
Yeah, these
used
days
to
they
have
just don't
similar
have half of it.
shops, but at a smaller, kind of a smaller concept.
Hmm.
But those stores all went bankrupt,
Ah.
Yeah.
or for good reason, to be honest.
Oh dear. But yeah. So you want to go back to Argos?
Yes, Zidon would like to purchase a bag of the spiciest spice that Gorons have.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So
isn't
you're.
isn't that just lava?
Yeah, actually, it's worth it. This.
Yeah, you can't really put lava in a pouch.
You're not trying hard enough.
Well, you can for a little bit.
for a tiny bit. Okay. So before we get on to the hot springs, Zayden, you make your way back down into the city, and return to Argos, to the Rolling Rock General Store, and you stand at the area that says start here, and once again the shutters come up. The green-capped Goron will look over and say, "Hello, welcome." Oh, I think I've seen you before. Are you still in rock elemental mode?
Yeah, why not? It lasts like hours and hours.
Yeah, you kind of
I think you're at 5 hours. Is
Yeah.
how long it lasts.
I like that.
yeah. I'd probably say you still have time enough in this one. He says, kind of looks up and says, "Oh, well, hello again. I think. Welcome back to the Rolling Rock General Store. How might I help you?"
I would like to buy 2 pounds of your spiciest spice.
Okay. He kind of like Goran just kind of shrugs. Now I need to actually. Big Spice has a specific price tag to it. It's a trade good.
But do you spice?
I was gonna say, do you mean spice or do you mean spice?
Do you mean? Do you mean spice or do you mean spice? I mean spice.
Yes.
Like, there's a difference. Like, no, I mean spice. Or do you mean spice? And it's like,
Well,
no,
this is just making me think of Final Fantasy where spice is just everything for that guy.
yeah. Oh dear. Let's see. 2 pounds of the spiciest spice that they have ever spiced. So he says, well, let's see. I think we can do something along those lines. Let's see. He kind of pauses a moment and says, when you say spice, do you mean like flavorful or hot?
I'm thinking less in terms of food,
Oh.
and more in terms of potential usage against annoyances.
Well, in that case, let's see. The spiciest spice we have in terms of weaponization, I guess, for lack of a better term, that's going to be 10 gold pieces.
I will put 10 gold pieces down on the table.
Okay. And the pause is like, oh, wait, hold on. If you could take that to the next window, thank you.
I will pick it back up, sidestep a little, and put it down at that window.
He's so confused by your order, he forgot his script.
Yeah. Next window opens up. Hi, yeah, 10 gold, please. Thank you. And he just kind of takes it and says, sorry, there is a process. We're trying really hard here. Next window, please.
Sidestep to the window.
It opens up. Here we go. Excellent. And he passes you what appears to be a small kind of like wooden bottle crate with several different vials, like potion vials, with this kind of black and red sand in it. It says, there you are, spices as ever spiced. Don't touch it unless you're ready to use it.
Okay, Sidon will turn back into human so he can actually use his bag of holding.
Okay. You kind of like turn back, pick up the stuff, put it in the bag of holding. Like the Goron there just kind of squints a bit, but then shakes his head and is like, okay, well, anything else we can help with?
No, that was all, thank you.
Okay, and just thank you for jumping here. Hope to see you again soon. And yeah, you have successfully once again completed the Rolling Rock general store process, and acquired the spiciest spice that's ever spiced.
I have labelled it as black/red sand, ultra death spice, 2 pounds of pain.
I love it. That's great.
It'll be great for when we have to deal with a certain noble back in town.
Oh my god.
There's a single tiny dot of it.
Oh, yeah, not a monster. It'll just be like a single grain.
Yep.
One of us isn't a monster.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, I love you. That's so good. Alright.
I'm in Goron City. I gotta get their spices.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else you need to do before heading back to the inn?
I would like to buy some spice, please. Why? I want to use it as a weapon.
Hey, I did say that.
Because this is like there is a rare instance in which like, so as a Monty Hall DM, right, I tend to give people stuff before I realize the implications of it. There's 2 levels of things like that happening. There's either one where it's like, oh, I'll let you modify this thing so it does this thing, and then later when a certain question is asked, you're like, oh, what have I done? Now I have to think of like a way to remedy the situation for the sake of balance. And then the other situation is this, where it becomes oh, what have I done? I've made something that will potentially be incredibly hilarious. Now I can't wait.
That's
imagining-
the best one.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining some of the people in like Dimension 20 that go, hey Brennan, if I roll a net 20, can I do this?
Yeah. Oh dear. But yeah. So back at the inn. Renji and Max, heading up a couple of floors, you find what appears to be the hot springs. This kind of flat plateau that exists, or this kind of flat area that exists outside of the outside of Goron City. The cold, chilly breeze of the of high altitude kind of brushes against your skin, but it's tempered off from the warmth of the hot springs that are situated in this area. There's like a couple of big pools of this vibrant, steaming water, where you can kind of get the hint of sulfur from the volcano, but it still kind of just has that nice, pleasant hot spring smell there. And there's a little platform just beyond those where there are a couple of seats. They haven't attempted to do anything with like plants or stuff that you would expect from, you know, other kind of commercial hot springs like this, because it's on the side of a mountain. But it's there's still kind of just seating areas where you can sit and look out over the land. This particular area being somewhat northwesterly facing, as opposed to anything else. So just in one corner, you can see the peak of Snowhead, just in the distance.
I will just get in as quickly as I can and almost submerge myself in the water.
It's very pleasant. Like, it's not so scalding hot that you'd have to kind of like shrink back from it. You just kind of step in and it's this perpetually pleasant warmth that feels like an all-enveloping blanket, and it's just so very nice. You feel yourself relaxing very, very quickly.
Good. And I'll
Ness
wait.
is just kind of standing at the edge, looking very confused.
I will probably turn. Is the water... the water isn't like salt water where it's like you can float on it.
No, it's
No.
it's very much natural spring water. It's yeah.
I'll turn over to Max. And anything you're waiting for in particular?
I don't get it.
What is there not to get? Do forgive me, but
I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting.
okay. Um, get in? Maybe?
Max is still like fully clothed right now. He's like, close the camera.
You can undress to like your skivvies if that's more comfortable.
I get it.
Max pulls a face that
I know.
indicates that
That's less
he's
comfortable.
still not, even though it would be just you guys in here, he's still not comfortable with the whole
This is one of the few
thing.
things that Renji is currently wearing, and he will take off his earring, his ear cuff,
Hmm.
and hand it over to Max.
No, he's just awkwardly holding that.
Put it on. You can use it to disguise yourself. So whatever you want to look like, you can look like it. You can get in without feeling uncomfortable. And yes, I know there's attunement, but give me the moment.
That's fine. We can waive attunement for now. It's an RP thing.
I said I trust you. He'll hand it back
Okay.
and very awkwardly just take off like his outer clothes. So you can definitely see all the scales on his arms and shit,
Mm.
and see that
I-
there's more than there were last time.
I think Renji would have like found a small nook to sit in and like look at the slowly arriving dusk.
So now what?
Now you can get in. The water is very nice. It's warm, and I don't know about you, but walking up the mountain has gotten it's given me quite a stiff back, and this really helps.
Mine. It goes in the water.
It is about as it is nice and pleasantly warm as described before, but there's I don't think there's any particular special properties that kind of would get past any of Max's own sort of
Weird anxieties.
yeah. So like you're at least not it's at least not chilly anymore.
I believe also knowing like from previous Zelda game experiences, if you have any damage, it heals over time in the hot spring.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think I got hurt in the previous fight, so
quarter of a heart container per second or something.
Yeah, it does slowly heal you.
kind of sitting there with the sample, and then after like a bit outside, he goes, "You just sit here."
Yeah, we can rest, we can relax, have a bit of a chat. There was something I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, okay.
Concerning what we're going to be doing.
All right.
I'm not too familiar with the exact extent of the abuse you've suffered at the hand of Torquin. And what I want to say is I don't want to take away your chance at revenge. I will be there for you, and I will definitely help you with that. But for the sake of our mission, I do think that there needs to be a moment that we talk with him. Unless there's like notes and admissions of guilt in his work already, in which case that's not necessary at all, and we can just get to the killing of this bastard.
It just stares down into the water. And
I hope
says,
you understand where I'm going from, where I'm coming from.
"If your dad's anywhere, he'll be in one of the cells. If he's there."
Renji's expression darkens.
If he's gone
If
somewhere else, then
Yep.
then ask him.
Dead or shielded or not on this world. Those are the three options that I have.
Ever since we decided to go there,
Mhm.
all I've been able to think about is tearing him apart with my bare claws.
I thought you had dragon claws.
Max does not. Max has human hands right now.
Yeah, but not bear claws.
You know what he means.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have played a bard.
But Max does not get your joke.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. And Renji just nods.
So if you have questions, you'll have to ask them fast. Because once I start, I won't be able to stop.
That's fair. I don't think I understand. I don't think I could ever understand.
You stole my life.
I
Turned me into a monster.
You'll have my assistance.
With this, maybe I can stop him making more.
That's a fair point.
Hear what the Goron said about the songs over here, and if
Yes.
there's other people that he's captured, then he's not stopping.
Not yet. But we will have an opportunity to make sure that he won't ever be able to do that again. We'll have an opportunity to destroy his work, to save the ones he hurt, to make sure that his impact on the world is just that he was defeated in the course of our duty.
There's a voice that kind of pipes up from behind you.
Oh, no.
Says, of course, there is one other thing that is.
Nice jobs.
That is sorry. You see Mara. She's kind of.
This is the first time she has seen the dragon scales, because
Yeah.
Max hasn't told her yet.
Yeah. Oddly unfazed. Like, not unfazed, but like doesn't have like a isn't staring, as it were.
Mhm.
Well, for all I know, she could have got her staring out of the way before she spoke up.
Yeah.
Also possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mara's dressed in a kind of very modest sort of set of underclothes. Around her neck is a necklace. And she kind of just wanders over to an opposite corner of a kind of opposite area of the pool, and kind of just slowly gets in. Kind of just exhales a bit. Says, the important thing is, beyond anything at all, we want to help you because you're, at least to me, your family. And we help our family out, you know?
Renji falls silent, but nods.
That's just kind of just the thing where even though it's already too late because she's already seen, he's still putting his hands on the scales on his arms to try and like cover them up a bit.
She kind of like, she doesn't mention it, but
Mm.
she kind of like looks down into the water herself and smiles a bit and says, like Renji, I don't think there's any way that I could. No, like Renji says, I don't think there's really any way that I could understand what you've been put through. What I do know is that there's no, like, even besides your own perceptions, and whatever Tokwen had intended for you, I can't see you as a monster. There might be a few things that have happened over the course of our journey together, but what I see most of all is someone who is, despite what outward perceptions might be, someone who is trying their best to do a good thing. And I care very much for that person. So while we will do our best to try and get as much information as we can, just to know what we can do, above all else, this is your fight. We'll follow your lead, okay?
I don't think this hot spring thing is for me. And then Max will just get up and awkwardly leave. And he's not crying, that's just sweat from the sauna.
Oh. Yeah. Mara won't like try and stop you. She will say, "We'll see you back at the room, I guess."
And then he leaves you
Yeah.
with Mara.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt or anything. I just wanted to kind of.
I think um, you can better put thoughts to words concerning the interpersonal relationships of this party. I can do some fancy things dealing with other people, but talking with friends, talking with family, I never really learned to do that.
I can assure you that, honestly, even at this point, I don't think I know how to do that either.
There's a difference between thinking you can't do a thing and just doing the thing altogether.
I was never really good with people. I don't think. At least for the longest time. when I was younger, I don't think I was terribly good at not. At least, well, there are a lot of mistakes that I have made in my life. It's only recently that I have attempted to try and course correct that. Before then, I was just content to hide a little and just kind of let the world go by. I couldn't hurt anyone if I wasn't doing anything, you know? No chance of failure if there's nothing to fail with. But well, I guess at some point you do have to kind of dip your toe into the whole social thing, and eventually it will work out, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. Kind of envy Hikan, to be honest.
Oh,
So
yeah, that. I get that.
Meanwhile, in the kitchen. Hold on. Hang on. He turns and sneezes and okay.
Oh dear. Mara just kind of relaxes a bit more in the water and says, I don't know how long it's going to take until all of this is over. Maybe I'll add this place to my list of places to go and adventure to after all this is done. It is kind of nice up here.
But it is.
But we gotta get it done first.
That is true. I mean, you caught most of the conversation I had with him, but I'm not even sure if I can follow my own advice here. Because if I figure out what happened to my father, I don't know if I can contain myself either.
It's understandable. On both cases, it's very understandable.
I don't know, I find it very hard to understand. Me and my father have a complicated relationship.
Yeah, but I think that from what I understand, that's kind of par for the course when it comes to parents in some cases. I mean, it might be
I don't
different.
know, I only have the two.
I'm sure he'll be okay.
There's a 2 in 3 chance that he is. Well, 2 in 3 chance that he is alive. I'm not sure how well he does currently.
I don't know, I guess I have a feeling. But much in the same way as Max, this isn't a case of Torquin or any of his associates, if he has any, are are of a particular need. And as much as I would like to think that there is a world in which we can all coexist without having to take lives, I also know it's a lot more difficult than that. I know that it's not always going to be easy to find a way to bring someone or something to justice. My key hope is that regardless of what happens, things will, at the very least, get better.
I hope that too. I'm not really sure what kind of ideology I want to follow. But making the world a better place, whilst simple, seems like at least a nice start.
Yeah.
I think Renji will just like lean his head back on the stone of the walkway around the pool
Mm.
and look at the stars as they start to appear.
Yeah. It is a pleasantly clear night tonight. Did anyone have anything in particular that they wanted to do before we end the session for the night?
Hikan was gonna sneak out when we were going to rest, but I think he'll probably meditate on a stone bed close to the earth instead, but that can be handled.
Okay. That's fine. You just kind of... So it's just like, will you be venturing outside of the, of Goron City to find a nice isolated area, or are you,
Originally, yes, but Hikan doesn't want to sneak out and alert everyone else because the intent was to meditate on Earth to see if he can shift some things a little bit with the Quake Medallion. Nothing
Okay.
dangerous,
Yeah.
but to kind of start testing to see what else I could do.
Give me a, that's fine. So you find like a nice spot to do this in. As you kind of like take in a calm, centering breath. I'd like you to give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
I'm all right at those. With an even 10.
Okay. As you try and focus on the magic of the medallion and the earth beneath you, you can feel a tug at something, but it's, considering what happened the last time you used it at full strength, perhaps there's just a slight bit of overcautiousness, and you don't really get too far into exploring what that tug meant, before eventually having to maybe kind of like save it for another day. Like, you know, there's something there, something that you can latch onto and kind of pull at, but yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Zayden, did you have anything else after acquiring your spiciest of spices?
If you are not muted.
Zayden probably go enjoy the hot spring, but nothing important.
Okay. Yeah, you head up. I don't know how long Renji and Mara are going to be there for. Mara's probably would give it another half hour to an hour of just kind of relaxing before heading back inside.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah. But I imagine that because the conversation involving Max and Renji was probably fairly lengthy, you probably get back in time to kind of enter the hot spring, converse with Mara and Renji a bit before they disappear, and are able to enjoy the nice warm waters and the relaxing properties of the hot spring. And enjoy the scenic view of the nice night.
Hooray.
Yeah. And Max, is there anything else you wanted to do before we end the episode today?
That's gonna make one last attempt on his magic before the ultimate test.
Okay. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Are there any bonuses since Max succeeded on the last one?
There might be, but we'll see what the round
Excellent.
The
is.
DC is different. He got 17.
Yeah. So at first it is a little bit hard to concentrate considering the conversation that you had prior, but as you kind of like calm yourself down, you focus on the magics within you, the roiling storm, and for at least the briefest period of time there is a sense of clarity. Within the storm head, within your mind, you can direct where the lightning goes. You can feel the buzz of electricity dancing on your skin between each scale and kind of just balancing out within your entire being. It, for a little bit of time, it doesn't feel scary, it doesn't feel antagonistic, it feels like it belongs to you.
Which is probably the most confused that Max has ever felt.
It's been quite a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with a sense of relaxation and the promise of a chance at revenge and further answers to a variety of mysteries that have been plaguing you for the longest of time, that is where we will end the session for today. Thank you everybody for hanging out for episode 82 of Hyrule Chronicles, the Legend of Zelda D&D campaign. My name is Articulate T, and with me as always I have had Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad.
Hello, it was me. A pleasure as always.
I have had Hikan Sio being played by Alvarez.
Bye-bye.
I have had Zayden Shari being played by RoboPirate.
Farewell.
And I have had Max being played by Keystrith.
Bye-bye.
And we will see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.